On the 24th of July 1926, in front of 1,700 spectators, the first British greyhound race took place at Bellevue Stadium in Manchester. More than 80 years later, around 3 million people go to the dogs every year. There are 28 stadia in Britain, and Bellevue remains a popular night out for people from across the region, as well as a focal point for the local community. So, how does it work? Pick a dog and hope that it wins.
It's all about the form over the last, month, 6 months. So we work out how good the dog is, how fast it is in the race, and work out all the form accordingly.
But that starts changing once people start betting.
Well, everyone else has got their own opinion about any certain dog. So if you go a wrong price, people back the dog, and when they back the dog, we lower the price. And other dogs that's not been backed, we go higher.
So if 10 people in front of me all bet on the same dog,
yeah,
I would get worse odds on that dog.
Well, if you're 10th in the queue, you get less odds.
Right.
You get lower odds.
I'm going to put some money on my first race.
Right. What you're looking for is the fastest dog in the race. And in this one, you look at the time there, the last time, the last race, and pick the fastest dog. That's the fastest dog.
And what are my odds on
the race.
On that one?
What's
on
the odds? 4 to 1.
4 to 1, right, I'm going to put £1 on that.
You're going over the top, aren't you?
£1 on Centaur All-Stars, £1 on Ping the Lids, chosen by Richard, our cameraman.
£1 on Centaur All-Star, £1 on Ping the Lids.
Why don't
752 and 753, 2 tickets.
Oh wow, ours are winning, Richard, ours are winning. I do believe that's the winning ticket, Martin. Thank you very much.
Just check.
Okay.
753.
£5.
£5. There's your
So,
winnings.
thank you very much.
4 to 1.
4 to 1. Bellevue Dogs is something of an institution in Manchester, and Dorothy was there at the very first race in 1926. What is it that keeps you coming back time after time?
Well, I like the company, I like being with young people, and I like the dogs, I love the dogs.
Are there any that stand out over the years? Any favourite dogs?
Oh, my favourite one was a dog called Dynamite Casey. He was lovely. We used to sit over that side then, and they used to walk all the way round, and he'd walk round with his handle as if butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. He'd get to that bend there, and he'd be off. The girls' feet wouldn't touch the ground.
Is the betting aspect important to you, or is it more about coming here and meeting people?
Oh, it's coming here and meeting people. I mean, when I come thinking that I've lost all my money. If I draw some, well, that's a bonus, but it doesn't bother me.
Like most forms of gambling in the UK, the dogs are strictly regulated and advised by the charity GamCare. Stringent rules are in place to try and spot problem gamblers.
All the staff have been trained to recognise anybody that might be seemingly under pressure or, as you say, in trouble, and they are told to indicate that to the senior members of staff. And we equally have been trained how to approach people. It's not an environment, quite honestly, that people would see as that would get them into trouble over betting.
But there are campaigners who say that dog racing should be stopped completely, that it's cruel and that the animals are treated as nothing more than a commodity.
15,000 dogs are retired each year, but they're not retired. Of those 15,000, only 4,000 are put in official homes, actually get to be homes afterwards. So after they've earned money for their trainers, after people have gone and had a laugh, had some fun here, there's 10,000 dogs each year which are killed after only a few years of life because they either don't make the grade or there's puppies that are killed because they're just not good enough to race. And there's no way any of these dogs can be homed. There's no way that these dogs can be homed. There's just too many.
I don't really have to defend it, to be honest, because we've got some quite wonderful, dedicated people here. A vet is on duty every time we race. We cannot race without a vet being on duty. The greyhound's a wonderful dog. Quite a big dog and quite a placid dog for its size. And you've only got to see how they're wagging the tails and they're so happy here. We do more than what we need to do. And I don't think there's anybody who works here who isn't a dog lover.
And like bingo, dog racing is coming under increasing pressure from more modern forms of gambling.
Times have changed. I mean, 20 years ago you didn't have the internet gambling. 20 years ago you certainly didn't have high street bookmakers. 20 years ago you certainly didn't have the lottery. The serious gamblers, they're either gambling elsewhere on something else, or the social activity of people has changed, and gambling isn't as important as in the way it was some years ago. It's not as important now.
Tomorrow we'll speak to TV presenter Jeremy Kyle about the devastating impacts that gambling has had on him.
I got 12 grand into debt, and I got myself into a position where I owed more than I'd got, so that was embarrassing, and that was a wake-up call, and that wake-up call was good, because I've heard too many stories of people that don't get the wake-up call and, like you said, end up penniless and destitute.